good for you. You've chosen ASK, the most modular knife ever made. We've made this knife, the entire project, all of the work that's gone into this and the team's efforts have been so that you can make the knife set up the way you want it. You're here watching this, which means you probably snagged a couple of tools and you want to swap them out, kind of customize your knife, maybe put in a blade or a different tool that's more fitting to what you want to carry every day. That's what we're going to do, so let's get to it. Okay, so you got your knife and you swap some tools out and you want to swap it back to the way it came to you stock. First thing we want to do, let's dive in. Let's do a little bit of safety. I can't overstate this because although I do this every day, when I'm dealing with razor sharp little knives, this is where you're most likely to get cut. So I have a tendency to kind of protect myself here. It's super easy to do that. It only takes a moment. An ounce of prevention is worth hours in the emergency room and unnecessary pain and suffering. If I were you, unless you disassemble knives like ours every single day for a living, which means all but about 12 of you on planet Earth, I would not skip this step. Don't take it lightly. Can you do it? Yes. Can you get away with it? Yes. But it's only a matter of time before you cut yourself to the bone, maybe nick a tendon. A tiny bit. I wouldn't even do this without doing this, okay? Because it's just so straightforward and simple. Now, chances are you've already watched the care and maintenance video. So now I'm going to kind of breeze through this and show you how quick and easy this is to do. We'll break the Loctite that's on there from the factory. If you need some more blue Loctite, you can. If you put the screw back in and you feel like it's gripping, then you may not need it. Let's take our scale off. We're going to work, actually let me put my glasses on. Now we're going to work off our titanium side. We don't pull off one side at a time. We make a little space for ourselves and we start working it open all the way around. You want to pull this open without doing damage to your knife that should last you a lifetime. If you've got a nice little smooth tool like the original chisel that comes on our standard #1 model, you can very gently, you don't want to wedge it in here and just start jamming stuff. You can very gently start coaxing it. Just a little bit here, and it's under pressure right now. It's under tension, you know, because the springs are squeezing. So you'll see that it pops asymmetrical when one side comes off. When it does, don't just go ripping it off and don't twist it, because these are D-shaped holes and pins. They've got a flat side on them. You don't want to ruin them. You get over to here. You get the middle off next. Pop that side off. Okay, titanium liner, as Gordon Ramsay says, titanium liner off. Tool, spring down, grab, off. Tool, spring down, grab, off. Pull off our first spring. Let's pull out our blade stop. Let me move everything just a little bit. Doesn't take very long to do this. Now, get in here and start working this liner up. Now, don't just go whole hog ripping the damn thing off here. Work it off gently so you bring it. You want to bring this thing up, keeping it parallel so you don't hog out the holes and stretch things and twist things and do damage. That's owner-induced mayhem is not covered under the warranty. You'd feel you get a little parallel spot right there. Work it up, work it up, work it. And this is under tension. It'll pop out just a little bit. Now you've gotten to here. This is as far as we'll take the knife down. We've taped up this 6 Scandinavian blade on here. Let's remove it, and we're going to put our original spear point back on. Okay, again at 90 degrees. You can either push this in if you've got monkey fingers like I do, but if you've been making knives all day, or you don't, or you're an accountant or something and you don't have monkey fingers, then you need to do a little trick. One, get your CLP brush, hold this at a 45-degree angle,
tape on, of course, or you'll cut the bejesus out of yourself right here. Get this in, push on the spring till you can drop the blade in. Super simple. If you can't do that, I've shown people how to do this in my care and maintenance video, where you can get in with a crescent wrench and you can kind of grab there gently and kind of open up the spring to drop this in. But you need a little more, you may need some help from a friend or one of your kids or your spouse. Push these all down in place. Got your knife in at this point. Leave it at 90 degrees. Let's drop in our spine liner. Remember the spine, this is under tension, asymmetrical side. What you do is you put your finger under one side, you push gently, and you'll see that that pin, by bending this right here, those pins will close together and you can get these pins in. You don't want this one too far down like that. You want them both up at the top. If you do that, you'll put it in an angle and you can't get this in. Now you pick the knife up, kind of hold the hole back, hold the blade carefully, gently push in on the liner, it'll drop in place, push the liner down. Now your spine is on the knife, and it's really starting, it's much more stable at this point. This is very much like the monocoque construction of an aircraft fuselage. Let's drop our spring in, oil as needed, as I've shown in the care and maintenance video. Weight on this little guy, that's the one you're going to lose. Let's put this tool in, put our bottle opener, and then I decided I didn't want to use my awl because I don't use it as much as I use my chisel. So you push the spring with your monkey fingers if you got them, drop your chisel in place. You can push everything down neatly. You can check the screws. They typically poke out a little bit on the bottom and they should be flush to this surface. If that's the case, you could push with your thumb and hold everything down and try and get them in there a little bit further. Get them in as far as you can, and guess what? That's enough. Next, we're going to put on our final liner. Now you'll notice this lines up a lot better on the first two because it's already got two precision parts stabilizing the chassis that's already been built. And you've got this bit left. So all you do, and you know what? I'm right-handed. I just did that upside down for the camera. So let me do this a little bit different, tiny bit differently for you guys. So I put in this, get the center pin in. If you've already put this pin in, now you've got to try and fit two pins in under tension. What I do is I go to the edge, piece of wood, door jamb, side of the table, a wood table, give it a little push and push down. So I give it a little push to line it up, and now all of that spring tension, you know, there's over 100 pounds of spring tension in this, and so you have to kind of counteract that as you put the whole chassis together. Let's put the blade stop pin in. Make sure the blade is not closed. You don't want to close the blade at this point, right? Get that pin in, make sure it's almost flush. It should be sticking up a little tiny bit. If it's sticking up enough to gouge your hand, you need to push it in a little bit further, but don't force it real badly. You don't want to jam it through the plastic on the other side. Okay, now that this is on, we want to push down and make sure that our pivots are sticking up a little bit. We'll grab our closing handle scale. Make sure that the logos are opposite each other, the crests. You want to set it in place and have these sink into the through bore for the main pivots. Hold that in place. Screw down. Now you can do this obviously faster. This is going to be fast. The pace I just did it at will be too fast for you the first time. Just stop the video, pause, work your way in. We're going to talk adjusting the blade one more time. You want your blade to have nice walk and talk, so that if you run to some dude who's from another knife company or he's a collector of slip joint style knives, when he feels it, you could be proud of the motion. It's got an industry standard and expectation met. You tighten this, you can feel the screws suck in, you can feel the parts sandwiched together. Tighten it until you feel you hit a wall. When you hit the wall, don't go further. Back off, and then you can tighten it right till it just touches. Tighten it till you hit the wall. Boom, I hit it. Back off, touch the wall. Just kiss the wall. And then I would grab, I push in the center here, make sure everything's seated. You can hold it up to the light, kind of check that you can't see light through here. If you do, it's very minimal. And then you open the blade. Put a little side load on it. Make sure you've wiggled out any little play that there is in here. Get it all squished away from the tool. I like to get the blade open. I like to close. That sounds good. We've side loaded the blade. Let's take this tool out and let's close the blade-ish. That sounds nice. That sounds good. Now, let's open up the blade and make it dangerous again. Okay, now the blade. It jerks out of my grip nicely. Makes a nice positive sound when it closes. And when it opens, it feels good. I can feel the bump. I push it to the bump and it releases back. You know, you don't need it to be loose when you put it together. It will kind of break in a little bit. And one of the things, if you go to close your knife and the nail nick has disappeared or is too low, you may be looking around, you may have dropped that little stop pin. Remember that stop pin? We take it off in order and we put it back out of order. And that's how to put your knife back together and swap parts out to make the knife fit you, your personality, your wants, your needs, and the way you like to carry. I hope making your knife fit your wants, needs, desires, and personality is as much fun for you as it is for us. The whole concept for us is just a kick in the pants. Enjoy the knives, buy different components, and kind of find the groove that fits you.